Hello, it's me again. Same dress, 3 days in a row. Thank you guys again. I'm sorry I'm not here to teach class today. I'm at a conference. I'll be back on Thursday, and we will have a review over single and multi-step math word problems. Before we jump into word problems, let's talk a second about sixes. How is it going with our sixes? 6 times 7 is 42. 6 times 8 is 48. What's 6 times 8? Good. What's 6 times 7? Good. So the first thing we're going to do for your do now, another one of our handy dandy sixes. I appreciate those of you that know your sixes already, hanging in there with us this week, but the majority of us really need to study our sixes. Next week we're going on to sevens, and this is your week to catch up, to learn your sixes, take it home, study it, do your best. Remember, 6 times 7 is 42, 6 times 8 is 48, and 6 times 9, 54. Got it? 4 minutes today, time test. Try to get further than you did the last 2 days. So go ahead. I need somebody in the class to volunteer to take time. Volunteer. Thank you for volunteering. 4 minutes. You're going to hit pause on this video. And then after you hit pause, timer will tell you guys to go. And after 4 minutes, you stop and we'll go over your paper together. So go ahead and hit pause now. Okay, how did we do? I hope and pray that you guys got further than you did the day before with your sixes. Let's look to see how we did. Let's go across the row. I'll say the problem. You guys say the answer. 6 times 9, 54. 6 times 2, 12. 6 times 3, 18. 6 times 8, 48. 6 times 7, 42. 6 times 1, 6. Circle anyone in that row that's still giving you a headache. Write it on the back of your paper and study, study, study that problem. Next row, 6 times 4, 24. 6 times 8, 48. 6 times 7, 42. 6 times 6, 36. 6 times 9, 54. And 6 times 7, 42. Third row, 6 times 2, 12. 6 times 10, 60. 6 times 10, 60. 6 times 2, 12. 6 times 5, 30. 6 times 7, 42. I believe after that row you've done all of your different types of sixes, so we won't go on with the whole paper. But the goal is for your paper, you've got more done today than you did yesterday or Monday. So I hope that you take a second, pull out your old papers. Did you make it further? For some of you that got pretty far the first day, that's great, but you had 6 minutes the first day. Today you only have 4. Did you get further today? Good. 6 times 9, 54. Let's all remember that. Okay, yesterday we worked on single-step word problems. That means in the problem there was only one step you had to do. It was either add, subtract, multiply, or divide. In today's math, you might have a few different steps that you have to do to find the right answer. So let's just review. When you're reading a story problem, if you see something like addition, obviously you're going to add. But it probably isn't going to be that clear just to say, please add. It might say, how much did it increase by? What's the total? All together or combined. Those are our clues that are going to tell us to add. Subtraction, in the short problem you'll see keywords like decreased by, minus or less, difference. Multiplication, you'll see things like times, multiplied by, the product of, increased by, a factor of. So those are some examples of multiplication. Division, in a division problem you'll see things like per, ratio, percent, divided by, each, those kind of things. And then equals, of course, is going to tell us that's what we need to do to solve the problem. So let's go ahead and look at some multi-step word problems. Okay, so you guys should all have this paper. It should be sitting behind the projector where your do now was. Looks like this. So you're going to go ahead and turn to the second page so you can follow along. I know this is kind of hard to see on the screen up there. So let's talk about this. Before you rush into solving a problem, you need to take your time to understand it, just like we talked about our steps yesterday. First you read the problem, then you go back, you dissect the problem. So we don't want to just jump in and start doing math if we don't understand what we need to do. So the process is going to be the same for a multi-step word problem. Let's read the problem. It says, Stephen is reading a book that has 260 pages. He reads 35 pages on Monday, 40 pages on Tuesday. How many pages does he have left to read? So we've read the problem. Now let's dissect it for important information. We know he has 260 pages total. He read 35 on Monday, 40 on Tuesday. How many more pages, or how many pages does he have left to read? So 260 tells us the total number of pages that need to be read. 35 tells us about Monday, and 40 tells us about Tuesday. How many does he have left is the question that we're being asked. So, the first thing we need to do is figure out how many he's read before we can figure out how many he has left to read, right? So, the first thing we need to do is figure out the total amount that he's read. How do we do that? How do we find the total of something? We add. So 40 plus 35, right, 75 pages. He has read 75 pages, so we added. Great. Are we done? Does that make sense? Put that back in the answer. He only has 75 pages left to read? That was the question they asked. We're not done, are we? So he's read 75 so far, but we're not being asked how much he's read in all. We're being asked what has not been read. How do we do that? In essence, we want to know the difference, right? And what does that word tell us to do? Whenever they want to know the difference, we have to subtract. But what do we have to subtract? He's read 75. We have to start with the total, right? Which was 260. So, 260 minus 75 will tell us the difference. So we did this part of the problem already. Now we need to set up a new problem, the second part of our multi-step problem. 260 minus 75. 0 minus 5 is? Can't do it. Mark off the 6, it becomes a 5. The 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. Can we do 5 minus 7? Nope. Mark off the 2, it becomes a 1. 15 minus 7 is 8. Bring down the 1. 185. If we're going to label it, we would say 185 pages left. Put it back in the problem. Does that sound like a reasonable answer? Yeah. If he's only read 75 and the book has 260 pages, 185 seems pretty reasonable. Good job. That's all there is to it. Let's look at the next problem. Okay. And let's read the problem together first. A man bought a dozen boxes, each with 24 highlighter pens inside, for $8 each per box. He repacked 5 of these boxes into packages of 6 highlighters each and sold them for $3 per package. He sold the rest of the highlighters separately at the rate of 3 pens for $2. How much profit did he make? Let's think about this problem.